Good morning, everybody. So I usually start my day by grabbing a cup of coffee and sitting down to kind of check in on social media, right? I have all of my posts that are scheduled beforehand, but I really like to go into the Facebook groups and see what discussions have happened in the past day. What might I have been missing out on that could be beneficial both to me as an entrepreneur or to my clients. When I was doing this yesterday, I came across some information that made me a little concerned. And it was in a group that's for event professionals, and there were questions about consultants. And this post had been actually a while ago, but there was still a constant thread. This question, which is, how do you find the right consultant for you, is something that is not very well answered, I don't believe, by other people. So I wanted to try and do that for you here myself, because as I look through these groups, I will be the first person to say that I think Facebook groups are wonderful. They're great for networking purposes. They're great for getting your own name out there. And they're really, really good for both market research and education. The problem is that you need to take the education into considering the source as to where you're getting it. Okay. So that being said, as great as everyone can be providing information in these groups, they may not always be the most applicable for you and for your business. And when I was reading some of the advice that was being given, it bothered me because I looked at it and I'm like, actually, that's wrong. And that's not going to help this event planner scale their business. And quite frankly, I've got statistics that prove it. So I debated whether or not I should actually say something into the group. And I decided instead to private message the person and explain why it is that I had a differing opinion. I do think that this is a really good avenue for you to take if you don't agree with something that's being said in a group. If it's going to foster a discussion, that's wonderful, and that's what all of these groups are for. But if there's the possibility that it's just going to kind of ruffle feathers, take it offline, okay? And that's a really good tip for PR in general. Everything is a digital age, and we have groups and we have commenting and we have emails, like all of these things that people can go out and do to get their opinion as well as their thoughts, their questions out there. But if it is not going to be productive, or if it's potentially negative for you as a person or your brand, take it offline. Don't become one of those trolls. Private message someone, ask to discuss it later if you actually know them, get on a phone call, meet them in person, okay? But as a result of all of this not amazing advice, in my opinion, of course, I thought it would be really great to give you some tips on how do you actually choose a consultant, okay? Whether you are an event planner that is looking for a business coach, okay, and someone to kind of help lead the way, or you're looking for a marketing consultant such as myself, or a marketing strategist, there's a lot of people that have these titles out there, and there isn't the perfect fit for everybody. Okay, so tip number one is to make sure that they don't say that they service everybody. All right, first thing is, nobody knows everything about everything. So yes, there are some marketing principles that are very similar when it comes to scaling a business that are true across the board, right? Whether you're a landscaping company, you're a caterer, you are a small retail store, whatever the case may be, there are certain principles that go across the board. But I will be the first person to say, I know a lot about events and I really understand the event industry. I do not know about landscaping. I just don't. So if someone comes to me from a landscaping company, and they could be a small business owner, and they are asking, hey, I want to do this. Yes, there are certain traits and certain, steps I could give them along the way, but I am not going to truly be able to service them because I don't understand their target market well enough. And the amount of time and effort that I would need to put in to understand their landscaping clients and understand the market that they live in is going to be a waste of their money. Because what they could do is take the money that they would have been investing in me and invest it in somebody who is either local, or the bigger thing is someone who knows landscaping, right? Like, I love the fact that my clients are actually all over the country. I don't only work with people that are in Washington, D.C., which is where I live, although temporarily I'm living in Chattanooga. So I can work with people in other places because I understand the markets that they're in. I do not understand Sioux Falls, South Dakota, for example, okay? That is where I would recommend them to someone else. There is the event industry, so I get that. Okay, so step one is find out what is it that they specialize in. okay? Because you want to make sure that they can articulate to you also what is it that makes them different? What is their value proposition? They should not be trying to sell you on everything. And their answer to every question whenever you say, rather, can you do this? Do you offer this service? Their answer should not be yes, emphatically, to everything, unless they specifically service the niche that you are in, right? I have a lot of people that ask me, can you do this? Can you do this? I'm like, yes, my company offers that. I personally am not the one who works on it because I have hired someone else who is better at it than I am, right? I want to offer you the best. If you want to work directly with me, there are other things that I can provide that some of my contractors cannot, right? So it's a matter of making sure that they really understand what you're doing, right? As, one of my favorite phrases, the riches are in the niches, okay? So everybody is a better investment and will make more money when you focus on what is your genius zone, what you do and you do really well. That should also apply to any business coach or any marketing consultant that you're working with. Right? If they don't understand the importance of analytics and how that ties back into a branding strategy and a business strategy, you should not be hiring them. If you're asking somebody for rebranding and they are not talking to you about what your business strategy is or who your client market is, your target client for that matter, and developing a client persona with you, then what they're talking about is creating a pretty graphic and a logo. They are not discussing what a branding strategy is. Okay, they're not going to help you create something that is going to hit your specific goals in order to grow your business. They're going to create something that looks really nice that you will be able to use, but will be driven by your internal strategy. So if you don't have that, you need to get one. And you need to find a consultant that can do that. Next, when it comes to the actual business advice, look at testimonials. A lot of people get things through referral, but you can also do a lot of Google searches. You can check people out on social media. Does anyone say positive things about them, right? And then of those clients that are, what are they saying, right? Because if everybody is saying about how great they are at social media and how helpful they were for them, but you want to hire them to do business coaching, maybe you should reevaluate that, right? Maybe you're going to have to ask more questions when you get them on the phone to get to the heart of what it is that they're really good at. They may be amazing at social media, which is why everybody talks about it. But if they're only so-so at the business management, do you really want to hire them to teach you about the new rates and how you actually go about convincing clients and doing value selling versus feature and service selling? Probably not. Okay. The next thing is that it's really great to learn in these groups from those that have been there before you, right? It's super beneficial to take from their mistakes and not make the same ones. That being said, you do not know all of these people immediately unless you start having conversations with them and actually getting to know them outside of the group. You do not know where their finances stand. You do not know how successful their business actually is. They could be really amazing at branding, and then you find out that they're actually not making a profit because they have someone else in their family who makes the money, or they have a trust fund, or they're paying just enough to get by, and that's their definition of success. Okay, so everybody has a different definition of success, and when you're talking to a coach or consultant, make sure that they're asking what is yours, right? It may be making sure that all of your bills are paid and you got an extra $100 a week to spend on what you want. It may be that you want to travel the world, and so you need to have tens of thousands of extra dollars, or you want to be a millionaire. Those are very different things. And if they're not asking you about what your goals are and not necessarily what they want your goals to be, then they're really not going to be the right fit for you. Okay. And then the last thing that I'm going to say on that is to actually talk to them, right? You can learn a lot through people, through email. They can sound great. They can have good branding, but there is no substitute for a phone conversation. If you can meet in person, that's great. But I personally hired my business coach, which was someone that I was looking for completely in a different industry, but that specialized in helping marketing strategists and coaches. And I hired him based on a phone call, right? And then it became a series of phone calls and video calls. That is what I have also found to then work with my clients. There is no substitute for getting to know someone by actually speaking to them. And I love face-to-face, but I have clients that are located in California and Alabama and Miami. Just got to see my Miami clients in person for the first time in 10 years, maybe it was. Because before that, it was a matter of we did a video call. So I saw their face every single week. That's what helps you develop those relationships. And that's what helps it click. So if you get on the phone with somebody and you don't have the best feeling for them, or you don't think that they're really getting you, and if they're doing all the talking and not asking you questions, then you need to move on, okay? You also need to recognize if they're saying yes, yes, yes to absolutely everything, there isn't even a little bit of humility in there or a note of, so my firm does this, I specialize in doing this, and then I would have so-and-so step in and help me to work on this part. Or we can work through these areas are really the strongest ones to focus on. This is where my expertise lies. Then you should also take a step back and realize, okay, maybe I need to do a little bit more research, right? See what does the competition have there. Look also, again, back at what their past clients have said about them. Ask for recommendations. If you have friends in common, ask them, quite frankly, what do you think? You know this person and I don't. They've come across really well. Do you have feedback? Any solid consultant will encourage you not only to get recommendations from others, but also be completely transparent in what they're very good at and also where their weaknesses lie, right? Because that's something that you don't grow a business by faking it across the board. It is not, in my opinion, about the short sale. And this is something I also teach my clients too. It is not about the short sale. It's about creating streams of reoccurring revenue. So I'm not going to take on a client whose business I do not believe truly and heartily every step of the way that I can help improve. Because if I did just take them for the money and they didn't get enough value and productivity and actual improvement to their business by working with me, they're never going to want to continue working with me, right? They're not going to sign another contract. They're not going to extend that. They're not going to feel better about their business. And that's really what I want. You know, I want to make sure that marketing is not something that should be scary and overwhelming. It can be overwhelming, but you can also break it down and get rid of all the crap that you don't need to do and focus on what you do, okay? So that's specifically what I want to work through. If I don't think that I'm going to help your business, I'm not taking you on as a client, and I'm going to give you a recommendation to somebody else who might be a better fit, right? Because that is the same that you should be doing with your event clients, with everybody else. If you take the short sale and get all of the money up front, but you don't truly deliver on what they're hiring you to do, they're not going to come back and renew. So it's a better decision to defer them to someone else and get your focus back on someone who really is your ideal client and who you know that you can service. And then when you deliver on them, you're going to put more energy in it. You're going to put more time. You're going to put more effort and more quality. And then they're going to want to keep coming back. And then that one contract turns into 10 contracts, turns into 10 years worth of contracts. And that's where you really start to see yourself succeed as a business owner as well as an event professional. So I hope that you'll have found this really beneficial. If you want to learn more about event planning and business coaching and you are in the South Florida area or just, want a trip down to South Florida, please check out the B2E workshops. Okay, so this is a partnership that I created with my very good friend, Gladys Mizrahi with Indigo Events. I mentioned that last week. We officially have our ticketing site for our South Florida event is up and it is waiting for you right now. We do have a limited number of spaces though, because we are not going to have this be a big conference where you are just one face in a sea of 1,000. We really want it to be intimate so that you actually get a chance to get some one-on-one time, both with me talking about your business strategy, your marketing strategy, as well as with Gladys, who has more than 25 years of local and international event planning experience, right? So you want to know the tips on how many checklists do you need to have or how do you avoid certain instances at an event? She's going to be able to tell you that. She's going to help you to design your events, the things you need to think about. And then I'm going to sit there and tell you how to promote your event industry, right? How to promote your event business. How do you run it from a business standpoint? How do you market yourself? How do you determine who that ideal client is? And then how do you do marketing that's going to attract only them? So you're focusing on the leads that are truly hot leads for you and not wasting your time creating proposals for people who are never going to end up buying because they're not the right fit for your company. So again, B2E Launchpad is the name of the event. It is coming to you from the brand B2E Workshops. We have a Facebook page up. We have an event page. Please go check it out. You can also see I've promoted a post on the top of the DCM Communications page so that you can check out a little bit more as to who we are. Like it, buy the tickets, ask questions. I would absolutely love to see you down there. It's August 20th through 22nd in Hallandale Beach at Plug-In Karaoke. Let me know if you have any other questions when it comes to finding a marketing consultant, or you want a recommendation. If you are not in the events industry, but you love my company, which I would, of course, be very happy about, I'd love to recommend you to someone else who might be local, as well as who may know your business better. So let me know. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.